So after we talk about the projector, I'm going to show you my install, which is a little bit different than kind of the ordinary install. Hey guys, welcome back to Home Theater Guru. So I got something really exciting to share with you guys. We have a new family member. It is the JVC NZ8. So in this episode, I'm going to talk about where I bought it and why I use who I use for my clients and for myself, and also what led me to choose the NZ8 over the NZ7 or the MP5 or Epson or Sony. You know, there's a lot of great projectors out there, so we're going to talk about that as well. So first things first, of course, I design home theaters, and for my clients, I often will supply the speaker packages. But beyond that, I simply don't have the time or the capability to service the electronic side. So I am partnered with Audio Advice. I use those guys and I pick them for a reason. I mean, when you pick up the phone and call them, it's just like talking to one of us, just a home theater nut. You know, they're not just guys reading a computer screen, you know, just sending you off to somebody else. They're actually in the hobby. A lot of times they own the same equipment you may own. And not only that, you know, like with JVC, they actually work with JVC. If there's a problem, they pick up the phone, they can call them directly. So their customer service and the level of customer service that they can give is so far beyond what is the norm out there. And not only with JVC, also with brands like Anthem. Anthem is my favorite receiver processor to suggest to clients. Audio Advice actually helps Anthem with their beta software, testing their software and making suggestions, things like that. And they're actually the top dealer in the United States for Anthem. And if you have an Anthem, you can send them your ARC file. They will tweak it for you and send it back to you. I mean, no charge. I mean, no one else does that. So that's why I use Audio Advice for my clients. So I have a tips and tricks document that I send out with all my plans. It pretty much has everything with the plan that they're going to need, how to lay out the plan, but also has recommended projectors at different price points. So I'm pretty much going to copy and paste that. What my clients see is what you're going to see as far as the projector section goes. So check that out if you're looking at buying, and it's going to kind of help steer you to what I think you should get based on your budget. And also, don't forget to look down the description. There is a 15% off of anything in the open box section at Audio Advice. So it's already discounted because it's in the open box section, and you can save another 15%. I've had clients find Anthems, JVC projectors, Sony projectors, some really insane deals down there in the open box section. All right, so I'm coming from an NX7. That's what I had 2 weeks ago, and 2 weeks ago is when I replaced it with the NZ8. And I had that projector, the NX7, for almost 2 years, 18 months, 2 years, something like that, and we really enjoyed that projector. Of course, for 2 generations, maybe even 3, JVC has had the best black levels at any price point. So any given price point, JVC is knocking it out of the park. Now, this is not really up to personal opinion. When you actually look at calibrated head-to-head results, you know, when they have blind tests and they're showing people, you know, all these calibrated projectors, there's just no competition. About 6 months ago, there was a really good head-to-head competition where all the projectors were professionally calibrated. They had the MP5, the NZ7, the NZ8, the NZ9. They had the Sony projectors, all the lasers from them, and they had Epson as well. I think that's the 1100. The Epson laser went up against the MP5, which of course that projector is a lamp-based JVC. It does cost about $1,000 more, somewhere around there. It's a little bit more, but once they were calibrated, the Epson was no brighter. There's a kind of a myth that Epson is so much brighter than all the rest, but that's just in, you know, they spec the brightest mode they can get, squeezing all the light output they can out of it. But when they're actually calibrated, it was very, very similar to that lamp-based JVC. But the JVC had a much, much better picture. Now, of course, these were blind tests, professionally calibrated. But once you step up and get into the lasers between Sony and JVC at every price point in that comparison, that head-to-head, JVC took the lead, and not by a small margin. Where the Epson had blacks that were considered gray, the Sony was considered a dark gray, and the JVCs at all price points was considered black. In any head-to-head comparison you see where they were calibrated, you're going to see these results on all of them. I mean, this is just the way it is. Just JVC is knocking it out of the park. So that's why I went with JVC. I was able to sell my old projector, scratch up a little bit more, and get into something new. And being that this is a demo room, that's, you know, I do need to stay kind of relevant with the projector that I have in this room. Because honestly, the NX7, I loved it. I would have been happy to keep that projector. But I do have kids and they use this room every night and they put a lot of hours on it gaming. So that JVC, the NX7 being lamp based, I kept it in low. On a 140-inch screen, it had an amazing picture, but of course the HDR didn't have the pop that I wanted it to have. I would run it in high sometimes just to look at it, and it was much better in high. But I really wanted to step up to a laser because I wanted to not have to worry about burning through lamps. So of course I'm jumping into a laser and JVC. That's what I'm looking at. So the NZ7 is the one that I'm originally looking at, and I mean I was planning on getting the NZ7. I was talking to a buddy of mine, Wayne Pomposa, who is another designer, but he also does installs in the Philippines, and he's gotten a chance to calibrate a lot of projectors. He's a certified video calibrator. He also has an NZ7 in his showroom, and so I'm talking to him. I've decided I'm getting an NZ7, and he's like, you know, I got the NZ7, but after I've calibrated all these projectors, you know, at first I thought the NZ8 was not worth the extra money, and he tells me that he regrets it. He's like, I should have got the NZ8. You know, it is worth the extra money. And so he had buyer's regret. And of course, that's not what I want to hear. I don't want to spend the extra money. The NZ7, I've already decided on it, but he's put that bug in my ear. And now I really want the NZ8. So long story short, I end up with the NZ8. So, you know, it kind of is what it is. But I got to say, from the moment that I got it set up and got the focus set and, you know, got it sized, got it on my screen perfectly, I was pretty blown away. Every light in the room was on and it was so freaking bright. And not only that, it just seemed much crisper. I did have to do the panel alignment, and which you have to do on all your projectors. You have to align, you know, your the green and the red, or the blue and the red. You have to get those perfectly aligned, and that's gonna really help sharpen up your image. But I have noticed that since I've done that, that's been 2 weeks ago, it's like perfect. I noticed with the lamp base, they would kind of walk a little bit. I mean, actually pretty quick, and you'd have to let it warm up 30 minutes before you did this. And it wouldn't, it would look a little fuzzy until it warmed up. It was not ideal, but once it was warm, it was fine. But this laser, it's like as soon as it comes on, you know, a minute later, it's perfect. I've got several hours on it now. It's still perfect. It's just very razor sharp. And the HDR is fantastic. I mean, we've been watching Stranger Things with the kids, which me and the wife have already seen it, but the kids are older now where they can kind of start to watch it. I swear, sometimes it's like looking out a huge window, like when there's outdoor scenes and the grass and the light, HDR is so bright. And I'm used to HDR on a big screen like this being kind of dim. And so it's something new to me because it's just so bright. And of course, being so bright, it just makes it that much more realistic. And some of those things you don't really realize until you see it, you know, what you've kind of been missing out on. So the NZ8, I mean, the optics are better than the NZ7. So you do get a better clarity. You get a better picture. Now, I'm not saying it's huge. NZ7 is an awesome projector as well, but when you step up to the NZ8, there are optical differences, as well as you're getting a brighter projector. But honestly, at 140 inches, I haven't had to use high mode on my HDR yet. I'm still using medium, and I am just over the moon with it. It's a fantastic picture. Now, Wayne is coming down next month to calibrate it. When he calibrates it, and I'm looking forward to getting it calibrated to really see what it can do when we squeeze everything out of it. But we may end up with high mode on HDR for that extra light output. We may need it. Right now, I don't think we need it. It looks fantastic. He thinks we might, so we're gonna see how that turns out. I will say on high mode, it is noisy. The fan is not quiet in high mode, so you are gonna have a hush box. I've got to do a little work on mine up here, just to kind of quiet it down a little bit. All right, guys, so now let's jump up there, and I'm going to get on the ladder and show you kind of my install in case you guys want to do something very similar. It's an awesome setup. I love it. Like I said, I try to do this in room plans anytime we have a chance. All right, so this ceiling is 12 feet, and there's a screen wall over there. Now, this wall, again, this is a false wall. It doesn't actually, it's not solid. It's a base trap wall. So my projector sits above. There's a little hallway over here we're going to look at. My projector sits right above it. You can see it right there. There's a little glass that it shines through. All right, so this is where we walk in. Of course, this ceiling is a couple feet below the actual ceiling. There's my equipment closet. All right, so let's go ahead and check it out. where the projector is. I'll show you how all that slides away. All right, so the first thing we're going to do, there's two panels here. We're going to take this one and we're just going to slide it over. Okay, now we're going to slide this one back. And then I just kind of flip it up, let it sit against the wall. All right, I've got a light up here, and a little pull string. There we go. All right, so it works really, really well. Keeps it all hidden. It keeps it much, much quieter. Let's go ahead and take a peek up here. So I've got some duct board right here to help kind of quieten it down. All this is breathable. So all of that fabric that you see up there, you can see lights and stuff through it. It's all just acoustic fabric. I didn't want it to get hot up here. And this is actually going, it's open to the equipment closet. There is a vent right on the other side, right up there, right above the equipment. So that is allowed, it helps it pull air through here into this area as well. Then that's my return over there. You see it right over there by the door. So it pulls air through here, actually is what it does, just the way it's set up. So this area stays nice and cool, keeps the projector nice and cool. Now this mount right here is a universal mount. It's a Strong mount, or that's the brand Strong. It's my favorite mount. I've had Chief and other mounts. This is just the easiest to use. You can just dial everything in right here. Stays put. It doesn't walk, doesn't move around. It's just a fantastic mount. And actually, Audio Advice sells one just like this. So this is just an awesome mount. I've got my projector plug up there to power it. And over here, I've got LED lights. Now that is on a motion sensor. So when you walk into the room, that plug is energized when it senses you and turns on all the step lights and also the LED strip that's above the front wall feature above the screen. And one day I'm going to put in some fiber optic stars. Just haven't got around to it yet. So yeah, that's it. You can see all this is pegboard right here. This whole ceiling is actually pegboard with fabric that is you spray glue to adhere it to the pegboard, and then I put it in place and nailed it up. So it's got a fabric ceiling, works really good. Like I said, ventilation was a big thing for me. It's one of my Atmos speakers, designed with triads, so those are triads. And you can see it's angled right down there to the seats. And there's also some in the wall for my rears. But anyway, so yeah, that is the JVC NZ8. There actually is a little cap that covers these knobs if, say you didn't want the knobs visible. Somewhere around here. At least I thought it was. But anyway, guys, like I said, this is my favorite type of projector installation, or just a way to hide it and have a really cool entrance into the theater that is also a bass trap wall. So it's got some major improvements to the sound at that wall, or at least to the bass. The overall sound of the bass in the room is just so tight and smooth, but it also allows us to hide the projector. All right, guys, that's going to be it for this one. Don't forget to check down the description for all of the links and also the 15% off discount code for Audio Advice for their open box section. If you have any questions, drop them down in the comments below. If it's a good question that a lot of people want to know, I do the Q&A episode, so you may end up in one of those Q&As where we answer your question. Don't forget to subscribe, hit that notification bell so you know when the next videos come out. That's going to be it for this one, guys. I'll see y'all for the next one.